Welcome back, viewers. You're still on to the Polity, coming to you live from the Abuja studio of KAFTAN Television. And like I said before, my name is Dayo Omoogun. And now I can proudly unveil my co-anchor. And I'm sure some of you will be very excited to see Victoria Oketa to my far right. That's the co-anchor. She's been a part of this, this particular program from the very beginning, right?
Yes.
Yes, you're welcome, Victoria.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on the show.
And so, also, I have our guest right now. His name is Bruce Lucas.
Yes, Bruce Lucas.
Bruce Lucas.
Yeah.
And he is an ethical hacker and privacy
data protection
officer. Now, please, let's listen to him explain who, because to me that's an oxymoron. How do you have a hacker who is ethical? So he needs to explain to us how that works.
First and foremost, there's a general context of a hack.
Exactly.
Which is the non-conventional way of doing things.
Negative, right?
Yeah, so it's not necessarily negative.
That's the way we understand.
Yeah, so that's the reason why learning comes in.
Exactly.
You have to unlearn and relearn.
Yeah.
So hacking is just an unconventional way of doing something.
Right.
So if we could simply raise this up, but rather I use my voice to raise it up, it's a hack. It's a form of hack. Right. So it does not necessarily have the negative connotation as people would have it as soon as they hear the word hacker. Yeah. So in the field of computing, there are some things you could do easily just by having the right username and password and login. It is easy. You have access. But when you try to go through an unconventional way of having the same access, that's when it's called a hack. So hack as it is a general word.
Right.
Yes. So an ethical hacker would be somebody that goes through an unconventional way of having access, but he had the permission of the organization or the user in order to expose vulnerabilities in that system.
Great. I'm sure that we all are educated, a whole lot of us, millions out there are educated by just that explanation. And I thank you for it. Now, quickly, today is World Privacy Day.
Yes.
Yeah, so what's it about privacy? And what's it about, what's the significance of the day?
Okay, so as we know it in tech right now, tech is creating that global village, even more than it has ever done before. And as we continue to see high adaptation of tech across the country or across the globe, we get to see that people are beginning to lose some basic morals, they're beginning to lose privacy, they're beginning to lose some things they would normally have traditionally. Right. So in the aspect of privacy now, the World Privacy Day is saying, let us have a day that creates more awareness as to how people can maintain the privacy, confidentiality, and the true essence of best practices that comes around data protection and people's integrity and reputation maintained online, just as it can be done offline.
All right.
For the sake of the viewers, I would like us to talk about data protection in general. What is data protection?
Okay, so as an individual, you have certain things about you that is the data that defines you. For example, your name, your look, your complexion, your height. Those things are your personal data, right? And some of that data about you is confidential. You would not let it out. For example, somebody approaches you and say, I want your bank account number. You would want to know why. So why is it so easy for somebody to say, fill out a form online, and they ask for the same bank account number, and you can't question why? Or you can't even question what will they do with all the information I fill online. Take another example. We have the case of companies doing recruitments, and when you go fill these recruitment forms, they ask for data that are so personal, and you would question what is done with that data even when I don't get the job. So data protection is in its entirety is saying, how do we make sure that the data subjects, which are the owners of this data, are protected? Their data is protected, they are stored properly, they are not shared to other organizations for other users. How is that data so protected that you can still maintain the confidentiality of your data as it would be if somebody was to approach you directly.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So now, like the example you gave just now, how would one be able to trace where the leakage came from? If in case of a breach, in case there's a leakage, in case suddenly somebody has my bank account number, somebody has my health records or whatever, and I'm trying to, there are several places where I have given this out. Is there a way by which to technically, I mean, systematically follow the trace?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. But first, your privacy is primarily your responsibility. Primarily your responsibility. But it goes further to regulations now that protects you even further and can allow for such kind of trace. For example, we have the GDPR, that's the General Data Protection Regulation, right, which is an international regulation that guides around data protection. Then we have a localized version of the GDPR, which is called the NDPR, which has been signed into law, and the entire system is managed by NDPB, the National Data Protection Commission. Now, this regulation, NDPR, is saying you as an organization have to be compliant with data protection.
Okay.
And every organization online that has anything to do with collection of data, sharing of data, and so on has to be compliant. And this is managed by an audit system, which is done every 6 months or annually, to audit companies as to how they manage people's data. So if you're working with a company that has been audited or has that data protection compliance, you can go to sleep and say, yes, I am safe because I know they're following such kind of compliance and my data would be safe.
Right.
Now, where you can't find a leak is when you're working with organizations that don't have such kind of compliance. So the audit system is not there. And so they are allowed to throw your data anywhere they like. For example, some transport companies in parks, they take your name, they take your phone number, they take the next of kin information, and they also take extra information about your trips. But how is that data protected? So those kind of organizations are not, most of them are not compliant. So you should be careful the extent of data you provide to them, knowing fully well that that could be a leakage in the exposure of the amount of data you can give out.
All right. So for the sake of the viewers, we would like to know, I mean, why is data protection so important? Because for some people, they might want to say, well, I don't care if my account number is out there. Anyone can just pop in money into my account. And some others would say, I don't care if my phone number is out there. So anyone who wants to reach out to me can reach out. So why data protection? Why is it so important?
Okay. I'll give you a small story that drives home the point.
Okay.
And that's coming from the issue with Cambridge Analytica in the US.
Okay.
And there's even a movie on Netflix about data protection also, and GDPR, the story of what happened with Cambridge Analytica. And it was observed, or it was gotten that Facebook has up to 5,000 data points for each individual.
5,000?
Yes, for each individual, they have like 5,000 variant data points on you that could tell from behavioral analysis to your personal information and a lot more. And these data points are so well organized that it could be used to target you in different ways. And in the particular case of Cambridge Analytica, it was alleged to have been used to influence the election and was successful at it.
Right.
Yes.
And the success of it being used, allegedly used to influence the results of the election, brought it to also be used for Brexit.
All right.
Yes.
So when the heavy issue around Brexit came up, people were targeted, and these people went on to be ambassadors for Brexit and went on to advocate for Brexit and so on. But they were targeted based on behavioral analysis on data collected. And this data was shared from several social media platforms and several areas where you have provided your data into a common pool that Cambridge Analytica gathered and then went on to do other things. And in the same video on Netflix, it also pointed in the documentary how that data was used in Trinidad and Tobago, how it was used in other countries in order to influence certain outcome.
Okay.
Now let's bring back the point.
But is that in the negative?
Yes, that's in the negative.
Brexit was achieved.
And it could be worse. Yes.
Brexit was achieved, and it was for...
Was it achieved out of the normalcy of people's choices? Or it was achieved out of a certain data manipulation
yes,
that targeted somebody to influence one action and generate a certain desired result?
But if you were targeted,
yes,
you still have the choice.
Because, of course, you
still have the choice.
Because it is due to the 5,000 data points that you talked about.
Yeah.
So it means that in one way or the other, they've seen that if you are reached out to, you would be open to it. And that's why they reached out to you. So how is that a problem? Okay.
Let me tell you why it's a problem.
Yeah.
We are all social animals.
Yeah.
Okay.
First things first. If 10,000 people are going towards a certain direction, I would question myself 10,000 times why I'm not going to that direction.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
And if data is used to manipulate people's decision, and 10,000 people took that direction, then you can easily guide others to the same direction.
Even then, Bruce.
That's one. I'm coming. That's one. And that's not even targeting you yet.
Right.
That is just creating a large population to go a certain direction, and then question why you're not going to that direction. Then the next thing is, we make decisions based on information.
Yes.
When you're more informed about something, you can make a decision even when you are on the contrary in the beginning.
Yes, an informed decision.
How do you get that information? When billions of dollars were spent into ads, campaigns, university programs, and so on, in order for you to get the information they want you to get, in order to make the decision they want you to arrive at. And all this was entirely based on the data they have about you.
In the final analysis, Bruce, none of them was forced to take those decisions.
No.
It's about influence. Okay. Now, quickly, let's look at, you talked about signing up to certain global best practices as a form of control. Now, let's say that a bank has signed up to that. But the staff who uses such information gets the information, gets my NIN, gets my BVN, and wants to tamper with whatever that concerns me, tamper with my funds or whatsoever, provide some leakage. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if that happens, it's the bank, isn't it?
Yes.
But then it's not the bank corporately; it's the staff. So how does that provide safety? How does that provide me a sense of safety, just knowing that they are signed up to that order? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, definitely, I understand it. So this is where there's a serious handshake between cybersecurity and data protection. Right. So there's the place for access control and data handling and security. Right. So even in cybersecurity, there's data handling and security, and in data protection, there's data handling and security. So you as an individual, or you as a bank or an organization, right, there's a place of you making sure that the staff is not able to go to a certain extent. Right. And then your access is left at this level or at that level. And then there's also control measures to see that certain data cannot go beyond the shores of your organization. For example, if it's a financial report, that financial report cannot be sent out of the intranet of the bank, as it were. But data protection would help in auditing how information is managed and could tell you potential threats from its risk assessment, that if you operate your systems in this certain way, this could be a loophole for data to go out. Because one of the ways Cambridge Analytica and Facebook story went was because an ex-staff of Facebook leaked information about data gotten from Facebook. So that is possible, but there are cybersecurity measures to handling that, as well as the audit systems that could also function in the aspect of data protection. So there's a handshake that can help mitigate such kind of scenarios.
Great. maybe when we get back after this very brief break, we'll take it from where we are right now, dear viewers.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at KAFTAN Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At KAFTANTV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
it's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
and around the world to create signal.
At KAFTAN Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa in a truthful yet positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
Here we are, starting from September.
Look at what the facts are.
And as you say on KAFTAN TV, imagine a beautiful world.
My name is Sheila BCFR, the Black Comedian of the Federal Republic. I tell you, when it comes to the best of entertainment, the best of news, the best of information, something that is educative, you're right here at the best place to see that. It's KAFTAN TV. You know what? Increase the volume. Keep watching. Don't touch the dial, okay?
It's your girl Nkechi Blessing Sunday. I want you all to keep watching KAFTAN TV.
Please keep watching KAFTAN TV. It is the best civil station in the country. They're doing an amazing job. Please do not touch the dial. Keep watching. Thank you.
My name is Sheila BCFR.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us on the show. We're still talking data protection and data privacy with our hosts, Dayo and Bruce Lucas, a data protection officer. Well, the theme for this year is privacy first, data protection, or data privacy first. And we're going to look at how this is possible and why. So Lucas, tell us, how is it possible for them to put data protection or privacy above every other thing, and why?
Okay, so I'll start by something that you might have heard before, which is a cliche, saying that data is the new oil.
Okay.
But a lot of people don't understand what it means for data to be the new oil. And as we continuously or increasingly accept computing and technology in our everyday lives, a lot of things we considered private before can no longer be private, and those things go out in form of data to different platforms, companies, individuals, as it were. But you still want to maintain the privacy of certain information that go out. For example, your health records.
Exactly.
It's not supposed to be as public as you think it is. However, if you go online searching for a particular thing concerning your health, and Google picks it up and shares that information with other companies that are health related, and they start targeting you with ads and so on, and even probably publish it.
And that happens all the time.
That becomes a problem for you, right?
Yes.
So data privacy first is just saying, as an individual, as an organization, can you please put the privacy of every data you gather first, and then consider every bit of way that you need to share that data, and make sure that it's only relevant or necessary for you to save that data or for you to share that data. It's not every data that is supposed to be saved. You can just pick it for verification purpose. You don't have to save it and discard it.
Okay.
Yes. That's what we're promoting.
Okay. Now, you just alluded to health records.
Yes.
Now, if we have a public servant whose health is challenged, at what point does the privacy, the confidentiality of that, at what point should it now give way to disclosure? For example, I mean, you know, we have had such situations in Nigeria, and these are public servants, and yet everybody's supposed to enjoy data privacy. But at some point, because these people involved are public persons, we also ought to know. We have a right to know, don't we?
Yes.
So let's strike a balance. At what point should that transition be made?
I think it's at the point you pick up the form to become a public servant.
That's it.
That's it. So just at the point you pick up the form to join the military, you give up to certain rights. It's the same way when you decide to become a public servant and serve. Certain personal information, like your banking records, your asset declaration, all those things that will be your private information becomes public information, but within the control of the organization that manages that data.
Like the Code of Conduct Bureau.
Exactly. Like the EFCC as well. If the EFCC does an investigation and they find out certain things about your bank records, to what extent is the privacy maintained, or to what extent are they allowed to publish that information they find? That's why even government agencies, NDAs, are supposed to also go through the audits as they are right now. Governments at different levels are supposed to have audit strategies. They are supposed to have data protection officers. They are supposed to have that synergy with the Data Protection Commission to make sure that data privacy is also put first in that regard. And so data is managed even for public officers.
All right. So maybe I'll take you further on that same area. Okay. I'll give you a scenario where I paid money to a wrong account, right? And this was in November 2023, and as I speak, the money is not being refunded to me. And I approached the bank, and I was told that I needed to get a court order, which I did get, and forwarded to the bank, and they said they were going to get the money back to me as soon as her account was funded. And I said, why don't you give me her number? So I could reach her directly. Now, they said they couldn't give me her number.
Yep, data privacy.
Why are you saying
data protection? Of course.
What do you mean by that?
Of course, that means the bank, whichever bank you're talking about, is compliant with data protection.
So where does that leave me? Okay, because my 20,000 naira is she spent it, because we traced it and found out that she we drew it that same day. What was the problem? The digits where it was supposed to be 5946 or something like that, or 5496, I did 5946, the last 4 digits, and then it went to a different account. It was a Stanbic account. I was transferring from Access Bank, and I had done everything in the Access Bank system. They said they would reach out. It was supposed to be a handshake between the two banks, within which I should have gotten relief. But as I speak, that has not happened, and I do not have a direct way by which I can reach her. I think that leaves me, it gives me a very bad part of the bargain.
Okay, so
should that be so?
Yes, it should be so. Bringing home the point from data protection, it should be so, and I should be giving those banks thumbs up for doing that. But understand this as well.
While I languish.
Okay, so it would not be right for you to say while you languish.
Right.
Let's take home another part of this story.
Sure, yes.
You're at home. You bought a tin of milk.
Yeah.
And you spilled the milk. Right?
Yeah.
And you spilled the milk because you were struggling to open the can.
Right.
Should the tin company be responsible for you spilling the milk? No. The error was made by you.
Sure, yes.
They can only try to say, oh, we saw that you had a waste from trying to open it. We're going to offer you another tin of milk. They can do that. But when it comes to the extent of the error that was made, it was made by you. And they don't have the right to go into another person's account and just pick out the funds. They also have to contact that fellow to be sure that it was erroneously done and the fellow is willing to pay back. Now, when you go through the court decides that it should be paid back.
Sure, yes, and I have that.
Okay, so when the court decides that it should be paid back and it's submitted to the bank, the bank now has the obligation to act on court order. Good. And if the bank does not do that, then it's still your responsibility to take it up with law enforcement that the bank is not acting on the court order. That will be your next line of action. But when it comes to the aspect of data privacy and data protection, the bank is doing right.
No. But from what you have said, at the point at which they got the court order, they are no longer right.
Okay, so that's not a data privacy or data protection issue anymore.
That's not
the security problem now. Law enforcement.
That's the law enforcement, enforcing the judgment from the courts that they should do this. And then if they're not doing what the court has ordered them to do, that becomes a breach. And that could be a different legal action you can take, which the bank is now responsible for.
All right. Okay. Before we go, she will come in, but before she does, please be reminded that you also have a chance to get on the show by calling on 080-299-38365. I hope that was slow enough. It's already on the screen, if you don't mind. Please, let's get your own perspective on this matter. Yeah.
All right. So what role does the Nigeria Data Protection Regulation play in safeguarding personal data? And do you think that it is sufficient enough?
Oh yeah, so frankly speaking, there have been different opinions about the current presidency of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. But coming from a tech background and from the tech industry, I think every right person has been put in the ministry that helps tech survive in Nigeria.
So in this administration?
Definitely in this administration. I'm going to start by Dr. Bosun Tijani, down to Dr. Vincent Olatunji in the Nigerian Data Protection Commission. These are already minds that have played in the collaborative space, startup and tech ecosystem, and so on till this point.
If you don't mind,
and at this point,
is here
you have a call.
Please don't lose the train.
Don't lose it.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, my brother. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, sir. I'm calling from Niger State.
And your name is what?
My name is Dexman.
All right. So let's have your take on this.
Okay, I must commend you. You're having a great topic of discussion.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I actually had the experience of such. I've been a victim and at the same time I've been a winner.
Okay, let's hear it now.
Okay. As at when I was a victim, I actually wrongly transferred an amount to a particular account. I was directed to bring a court order.
Right.
I did. And it took a very long time before I could get access to my money back.
At least you got it. Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
You have a better testimony. Yeah, go on.
The second time I did not succeed. So I forfeited.
third time.
The third time, yes. So what happened was that I went for court order. Then I was being advised by the practitioner, that's the legal practitioner, I would not succeed because the amount was huge. So I was directed to, instead of going for court order, that I should go for proceedings, which means I should go for normal, how do I put it?
Litigation.
Proceedings.
Yes.
So I filed a case. And the case lasted 4 months. I spent a huge sum of amount, like up to 200,000 naira, before I succeeded in getting my money back.
When you put the gains and the plus and the minus together, was it good? If you spent 200,000 naira?
It can be good.
Yes, it was good because the court actually awarded some additional amount.
All right. All right. So you see, there's necessary to find as damages. Good. That's okay. Thank you so very much.
My point now is that I think this amount is meager, as in small.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be able to spend up to 200,000 naira to pursue the money.
Definitely.
So you just let go.
And so you may be left with the choice of leaving it. We need to let you go because of time. There's still so much we need to talk about here. Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like as I was saying, the minister for digital economy, the Federal Ministry of Information and Digital Economy,
square pegs and square holes.
Yes, square pegs and square hole.
Yeah.
Dr. Bosun Tijani has a track record of collaboration across the tech, startup and tech ecosystem. He's not just a politician. And then Dr. Vincent Olatunji of National Data Protection Commission, same thing. He has always been in the tech industry and has that track record. So when they are talking, when they are designing frameworks, when they are doing things around the tech industry, we are going to bed peacefully.
Right. Okay.
As it is.
Right.
Then with the recent appointment of Desa David in DBI, we are excited about the line of the way these things are going. Right. So bringing back the point.
DBI will be Digital Bridge Institute.
Yes, Digital Bridge Institute.
Okay.
Yes. Desa David. Now, bringing back the point, these people already understand how it should be implemented in the country.
Now, this what happens on this program. Nigerians also want to be a part, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Go ahead, please. Let's take it.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Thank you. This is Sadiq Olushola coming from Kogi State.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I have a question to put direct to your guest.
That's why you call. Go on.
A very similar experience like that of yours, but from a different angle.
All right, go on, please.
When you are talking about data protection, in a situation whereby an organization or a government agency that you work with for a period of over 30-something years, and it happens that you have an issue with them, and you petition them, you took them to court, and suddenly when they are going through your record, they told you that they don't have any, you don't have any record with them on their system. That your data is, you have no data with them. In fact, you are not even a servant of that organization.
Wow.
That your data has been disappeared from the system. How do you go about that issue? I'm telling you of a true life story. My boss that worked with an organization for over 35 years, just because he was denied promotion to the next level when he was about to retire, and he petitioned this organization, and it became a court issue. Suddenly, they backed up all the system, all the record. And by the time they get there, they said it's not even a staff. And it's a person that I've worked with this organization for 35 years, collecting salary on the payroll, and you're not saying that he does not have any data with you. Please, how do you go about this?
All right, he will be speaking to that. If you don't mind, you can just go offline and then, go off the phone and then let him just watch. Yeah.
Okay, so should I go ahead to respond to this?
Or which one do you want to do?
No, respond to
let me respond to this at once.
Yeah.
So, this is possible.
Okay.
Like an organization can get to deny it, but that does not mean it's not true.
So that's like denial.
Yes, that's a denial. It doesn't mean it's not true. So the records might still be there.
Okay.
But who goes further to get those records where they are? And even if there's an attempt for sabotage or an attempt to expunge those records, there are ways of getting the records back, or there are ways of tracing the fact that that person actually worked in that organization
what
for 35 years.
What are those ways?
But first and foremost, I would want to say follow a legal procedure, right? Get the case registered, get a lawyer, and then start building the evidence to show that you were there. There could be a huge evidence from all the salaries received into a particular account and was coming from that organization's account, and they will have to explain how come you paid this guy from this organization account for 35 years. Can you explain that?
Right.
That could be an evidence to salary structure and what he has been receiving. Then there are also mail trails. There are also paper trails.
Yes.
There are also digital
Letter
records.
of appointment, letter of promotion.
Exactly. And there are also digital records. And even when you try to expunge these records, a forensic examiner can go in and still get these records.
Wow.
So there are several ways. But if you don't go through the right process and get the right representation in this regard, you might appear a little frustrated and not sure of what to do next.
Okay, but the caller would like to know how this happened. Why? How is this possible? Because he's a bit confused. Like, how is it possible that you are telling me that I'm not in the system?
Yeah,
So
this is like sabotage. It's possible from an area of interest. It's possible from an area of interest, especially in an organized system like public service or like some large corporations where the pension is a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. When you head towards retirement, somebody might deliberately want to sabotage you getting to that point where you received a huge pension or you received a huge payout.
Right.
And that person might also be in key management position where they have the authority to expunge those records.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that interest or that deliberate sabotage against that particular individual can just be the reason why that would happen.
When we get back, you talk about the square pegs and square holes.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
You're welcome on the show. And what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Umar Farouk Fahid. I'm calling from Funtua local government of Kaduna State.
All right, Sendezwa. So how's Funtua today?
Fine, sir.
Okay, let's have your...
yeah, please. I want to ask the guest one important question.
He's listening.
First of all, I'm a legal practitioner.
Good.
And, you know, we have the Freedom of Information Act.
Good, yeah.
A law enacted by the National Assembly.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you seek to obtain some information from the public agency, they tend to play some tricks. They simply tell you that they formatted their systems because that is their tradition periodically. So is there any way you can obtain a court order authorizing you to employ the services of an ethical hacker to retrieve the purportedly formatted data from their system? For example, after the 2023 presidential election, there was this issue of these levers, and that's what they called back off something, you know, don't mind me.
Bimodal
technology.
Right, okay.
The counsel for the petitioners at the election petition tribunal, they wanted to, you know, obtain some information so that they could tender it as evidence. But their effort was frustrated simply because there was no that data available. So now that you have an ethical hacker in the studio, and I appreciate his in-depth knowledge of the industry,
right.
Please, is it possible to retrieve such data after it is purportedly formatted? Thank you, Mr. Dayo.
Thank you, Umar Farouk. He'll answer you now. Yeah.
Okay. First, to answer your question specifically, yes, you can retrieve data that has been deleted. You can also retrieve data from a system that has been formatted.
Wow.
Yes, you can do that. But I can't answer the question of if you can get a court order to retrieve those systems in order to do that.
That will be determined by the court.
That will be determined by the court as well. So if that happened also in the Election Petition Tribunal and the court did not give the express approval for them to retrieve those systems and get the data or a backup of some sort back, that was the discretion of the court. However, we have experts within the country that could do all sorts of data recovery from systems.
Does that apply across board, like on my phone, like on my laptop?
It appears
whatever has been formatted, whatever has been deleted can still be recovered?
Yes, can be recovered.
Wonderful. Okay, so quickly go to the other.
We even have an expert right here in Abuja, Dr. Sibe. He is also an expert in forensics.
Is that some form of advert for him?
Yeah, it can be, but remember, we're trying to give value to the audience to know that these things can be done.
Yeah, it can be done.
And it's not far-fetched as well. So it's okay to mention certain referrals.
It's okay.
I've not mentioned myself yet.
Are you saying that the doctor you just mentioned can track my boyfriend's phone and gather all the information as to whether he is cheating?
Okay, that would be another part of it.
Because the viewers, they would like to know this.
But yes, that can be done, but that would be another part of it. Dr. Sibe focuses on forensic analysis, data recovery, and so on. He has like an equipped lab where he does that for organizations.
Dr. Sibe, if you're watching now, your bill is growing.
Yes.
Now, let's quickly go to the part you were talking about, the appointments that have been made thus far by Mr. President in that area.
Okay, so I was talking about the...
Yes.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, a very good afternoon to Mr. Dayo,
our very wonderful guest. Welcome, Dudu. Yeah.
Imagine a beautiful like KAFTAN.
That's what we do all the time, imagining a beautiful world, so we can make it so.
Imagine a beautiful world with KAFTAN.
Yeah, you're welcome, Dudu. Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon to Mr. Bruce.
Right.
Thank you.
In the studio.
All right.
You are doing a very wonderful job to the topic at hand. Appreciate your in-depth knowledge. Good afternoon to Mrs. Victoria Oketa.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Mr. Dayo, thank you so much. I thank the management of KAFTANTV for ensuring.
Also, Dudu, you are going to spend your entire slot on pleasantries.
Okay. No, you are doing it.
Thank you.
Yes, striking the balance. Data privacy is striking the balance between data privacy and national security.
We've not even gotten that.
This is very wonderful.
All right. Go on, please. Yes.
Yes. Data, ordinarily, we look at it as an unprocessed information. Yes.
Statistics, right?
And when we talk about data privacy, it is very, very important to make sure that we strike a balance between the national security and data privacy as per se. The truth is that there are some certain information that ordinarily, if it is not being protected, it is being allowed by the public domain to actually affect national security.
That's correct.
That is, the peace and security of a nation will be at stake.
You're correct, yeah?
But however, there are some certain entities that the operating concern is not, they cannot allow third party to have access into the data. They can they act. What am I trying to say? I actually understand the position you took when you said you passed through some certain things with the bank. The bank ordinarily, in that your case you entered, after
securing a court order.
Yeah.
What the bank is expected to do at that material point in time, they have to communicate the destination bank of the of the transfer where you mistakenly did the transfer or lodge the money into, and then flush that sum of the account if it is still in the account. If it is not still in the account, they now have your bank, that is the asset bank, that is the complainant bank. You are now expected to tell them, direct them with a court order, direct them that once there is any money launched into the account, the money mistakenly transferred have been true.
Yeah.
And once there is any money launched into the account, you send it back, you pass it back to the complainant. That would have been what would have been put in place. But however, since you say you are not a paid up to now, I will advise you still approach your bank. Approach your bank.
Okay.
Can we? Okay. Lastly, we'll take 10 seconds, right?
Okay, let me leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, let's do this. Okay, quickly go on. We lost this last one. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I think we were at the point of discussing the
right appointments that have
been made.
Yeah.
So let me just go back and bring it in again.
Yeah.
So
we're at the point where the last one made for DBI is also perfect.
Yes. Okay. Yes. That from DBI. Desa David. That was just some few months ago.
Right.
And he has also been a big ecosystem player. Desa has been the founder of NHub in Jos, and across the country he has participated in several tech events, building of tech solutions as well across the country. These people understand already what it means to build a national policy, a national framework, everything that Nigeria needs to thrive. However, there's still the place of will of government.
Political
will
to make this happen.
Yeah. What would you say they've done so far as regards this sector?
Okay, so the driving already of what we see in the sector today in the entire tech industry was done by these same individuals. But since in office, they have put together the 3MTT, which is a nationwide tech talent build solution.
Right.
And to Talent Gap, they've put together the NDPC, started with just a bill, was passed into law, and there are several individuals that have participated right from when it was in the hands of media down to the fact that it's a commission right now. And the commission, every day we receive mails, calls, programs, events everywhere, all towards making sure that data protection is a thing in the country.
So how does this benefit the average Nigerian?
Okay, so I'll take how it benefits Nigeria and how it benefits the average Nigerian individually, and how it benefits us as a nation.
Yeah.
Now, individually, there's certain extents to my rights when it comes to organization I do business with, right? And I give you another example. You attend an event, and when you attend the event, you're asked to
put down your email address, your name,
phone numbers, everything.
Yeah.
But you never thought that same information you put out is private to you, and you wouldn't have given it out except you attend that event. Yeah. And that same information you've given has made you vulnerable to a hacker.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because the hacker has access.
I did that somewhere this morning. So
the hacker has access to your phone number, the hacker has access to your email and your full name and the fact that you attended that event.
So would you say
so those are 4 clear data points that could make you vulnerable to a hacker.
So right. Bruce, are you advising that citizens should formulate other maybe phone numbers or email addresses that are not really beneficial to them, so that when they go for events they just put that one down and then they are not open to hackers?
Or they should be more guarded, more guarded about how they
yes.
No, I mean, but
yes, you should be more
An
guarded.
event, you must have to put something down.
Yes.
So what do you do as regards that?
That's that's where I'm bringing the point to.
Okay.
There's an extent to which you can handle this. You can decide to go with the pseudo data.
Yeah.
That is not your original data. Yes. That's what you're saying. You can go with the pseudo data, quite all right. But there's a commission that is trying to make sure that whichever organization that is collecting public data is responsible for that data being safe.
Now, how will you know which of the commission, which of the agencies or companies
are
taking your data to hackers? How would you know?
Because
you written
positioned in such a way that hackers were able to take advantage
to access you.
Yes. I asked that question.
Yes. So that's now you can't tell exactly, except there's a data protection audit.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what the commission is taking very seriously.
So how will they?
Recently, they have fined some organizations for not being data protection compliant because they understand the level of risk that poses as well. So the fight of your monies in the bank is not likely a fight anymore because we have NDIC.
Okay. So he should do it then.
But that's true.
I need to look at the cost. The entire money is 20,000. No. I guess what we're going to do.
But did you get my point here?
Yes, we'll take a breather. We'll just take a breather. And after that, he'll conclude this thought, and then we'll look at the meat of the matter in terms of striking the balance between data privacy and national security. We really need to do that before this program is over.
Sure.
After this break. Welcome back, viewers. I'm sure that you're having a good time with us on this program. We've been talking about privacy, data privacy, and I'm sure that concerns everybody. In actual fact, you must do something right now. Tell your neighbor that he's missing so much if he's not tuned to KAFTAN TV. You can't afford to miss this. And so we'll go right straight to what we're talking about before the break. Just conclude that line of thought, and then we'll go to the next thing.
Okay, so across the country, we all want government to be working, right?
Yeah.
And so there are certain things government is also doing on their part in order to ensure that they are working.
Yeah.
Right. Just as you feel your money is safe in the bank because there's a certain institution called NDIC that ensures your deposits. It's the same way there's an institution responsible for data protection, and they take your fight to everybody that collects data, saying if you must collect data of Nigerians, you must be data protection compliant. We need to be able to have audit reports from you that says you are data protection compliant and that data you're taking from Nigerians is actually safe. And that fight is ongoing, and one of those fights brought about a day like this where we're discussing Data Privacy Day, right?
Yes.
So taking this forward now to individuals and the country at large when it comes to national security, we still have a problem. And that problem is interagency collaboration, especially when it comes to data. We have not perfected the synergy of data interchange between even the government and between organizations. So in every government institution, you have to go through the entire circle, right? Even when they ask for your NIN, they will still ask for everything you filled in your NIN to be filled into your form as well.
That's it.
So why did you ask for my NIN?
In the first instance.
If my NIN already has every information about me you need in every corporate document, application, and so on, why would you ask for my NIN and then ask for everything I have filled in
already
NIN?
provided before?
That is information interchange. Why doesn't my NIN provide everything at once?
But that means they're not working hand in hand with
that's the synergy.
They may be working hand in hand, but not enough to create that synergy between institutions. And that is something we look forward to seeing. But there are other legs to it that make sure that is done smoothly. And that's the leg of cybersecurity. That's the part of data protection. In order to make sure that that data interchange is protected with these other regulations and frameworks as well. So if you look at the ministry now for digital economy, you will notice that cybersecurity is one of the core things that is in the training curriculum for people to be more aware of cybersecurity and building more cybersecurity experts.
Right.
And then just about a few days ago, Dr. Bosun Tijani had a collaboration meeting with Dr. Vincent Olatunji of the Data Protection Commission, and they looked at a way of a large upskill for data protection officers.
Right.
So you might be seeing a new wave of people introducing themselves as data protection officers in organizations or across the country. And this is a new career path that would go a long way to seeing that in every organization and across the country there is a sense of data privacy, and there's a sense of protecting every data across the country from it being becoming a loophole or a vulnerability for Nigerians.
All right. Bruce, you're doing a marvelous job, I must confess. I'm so excited that this happened. Now, let's talk about the meat of the matter. Okay. If we miss out on this, the very essence of this program may have been missed, because what we put out there is talking about balancing, striking the balance between data privacy and national security.
Yes.
Now, we have a situation where we have kidnappers on the prowl. We have a situation where the insurgency is not abating. We have a situation where scammers are having a field day and all that.
Yeah.
And there's a school of thought that with data, a whole lot of this can be drastically tackled. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree with that.
Very good. So at this point, where does data privacy end, and where does national security take over in a situation like this? I mean, you very well know that corporate organizations, for example, have a veil that protects directors and shareholders from direct interface with businesses and clients and so on. But at a certain point, the veil is lifted where you can now sue the directors directly. At what point must national security take prevalence, take precedence over data protection, data privacy?
Okay, I think it's first we have to consider the importance of data to government when it comes to national security.
Good.
How important is data to government?
So how important
if
is it to them? Yeah?
Data gathering and data analysis is prioritized in the security architecture of the country, then you can walk into a police station, report a certain individual, and they already know that individual. They would know that individual because the security structure already have data about everybody in the country.
Right.
But the reason why they don't know that individual, and they would ask you that came to report to provide the information about that individual, is because the data was not captured.
Yes.
And then the right infrastructure to access that data with any other agency that may have captured such data is not there. So the fight for security across the country has to be more of a data-driven intelligence than a word intelligence or an investigative intelligence. It has to be driven by data. Let's look forward to a security system that can sit, put in your name, and be able to tell more about you than, okay, I saw on Google that you have a Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
All right.
Meanwhile, that kidnapper was born in a certain area of the country.
Yes.
He has a local government identification certificate.
He has friends.
He attended the primary school or secondary school. He also wrote WAEC at a point in time. Wrote JAM at a point in time, maybe or maybe not. And that fellow may have also applied for jobs or may have also worked in a certain organization. How is that data so organized and available to security agencies as a key tool in fighting insurgency or in fighting crime across the country? That will be the handshake between data and national security.
All right.
Then when it comes to the component of privacy, it is already within the responsibility of that security agency or institution to treat that data as private. Definitely they're not sharing it with the public or whatever.
Right.
That it's already private within the organization.
Right.
But the bottom line is the security architecture of the country, the entire institutions around security, the forces and so on, should look at ways they can pay attention to data more intensively and even organize a summit or a conference where they can deliberately talk about data interchange for the good of the security posture of the country.
Now, Bruce, quickly, because of time. Now, while that is correct, I have a feeling, and I need to have your weighing. I have a feeling that part of the problem is that we lack the political will to even deploy the little that we have. For example, if there are kidnappings and money, ransom is paid, is it not paid into some account? If it's paid into some account, on the basis of that account and all the data, attached to that particular account, does that not provide a basis for security people to track
down kidnappers,
the kidnappers or the sponsors, or even whether it has to do with insurgency or whether it has to do with kidnapping or whatsoever crime? I'm saying if we have sufficient political will, we should be able to track these people.
Okay, so I'm not a fan of blaming government for everything.
No, we're not blaming government, but I think that is in the realm of government.
It may be in the realm of government, but look at this. If the government has the police as an institution to address security challenge, would you question the political will to address security situation again?
No. See,
it will now come down to the competence within the structure of the police.
I agree.
And then the will of the police to handle that issue squarely.
What you have said, this analogy you have provided, let me give it in another way.
Okay.
You employ a security man at your gate.
Yes.
But in spite of employing a security man at the gate, all kinds of animals stray in, all kinds of visitors, just walk in, and they come knock on your bedroom door. Now, would you now say, since I have ceded out this role to my security man, security gate, it's none of my business?
Yes.
So
I don't say it's not none of the business.
No, but that's what you.
That's not the context. No. That's if that is the impression I gave, then I'll be wrong. That's not the impression I'm trying to give.
There's still authority that should ensure that the police do their work if it's not being done, isn't it?
Yes, but I'm trying to say the political will sits at the top of this.
Yes, that's correct.
But there's some everyday operations and everyday activities that is still within the purview of the police or the law enforcement agencies to handle.
Sure, yes.
And the political will at that point of government may not get to know these nitty-gritties coming from the everyday operations. So we still have to also hold the security agencies responsible for seeing that this is done. Let me give you a very primary example.
Just before you do, let's take this last call, hopefully the last call. Please don't forget please. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, you're welcome to the show. Yeah, good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Very fine, thank you.
Ibrahim Mustafa speaking
from Wags, all right? Ibrahim Mustafa, you're welcome. Do yourself a favor. Walk away from your TV set. Walk away from your TV set and cut the volume, please. Thank you.
I appreciate this tech expert here. I think what he's trying to say in this is the mandate of the security apparatus.
That's what he's saying, yeah.
Which is more often residing with the appointment. Once you are given an appointment, you have that mandate to prosecute, to discharge.
Exactly.
Without waiting for any political will. The political will has given you the order to discharge your duty. So I think what we need to beg the government for is to provide the data needed for the police to prosecute this fight or any other security apparatus. To prioritize provision of this data, to make sure the intelligence network, the facility to obtain this intelligence network is provided if it is not available for the security apparatus. Because without the availability of the material to procure this intelligence, they might not be able to do their will, to discharge their mandate.
I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
Very well, yes. Yes.
Discharging this mandate resides with appointment into that office. You cannot be in an office and something happens and you're unwilling to discharge your duty, waiting for order from where you have been given the order of orange.
All right. Ibrahim Mustafa, it's just because of time. I know you are loaded as usual. You could continue. But the point I am making, the small, little, space I'm trying to get into is, if the person that has been so appointed is failing in his duty,
what do you do?
So do we all go to sleep?
Yes.
He's to be removed immediately.
Of course, that's the idea.
Exactly.
That's what we're talking about.
So it's either removed or he undergoes some punitive whatever and all that. So thank you very much, Ibrahim.
Thank you
because we need to begin to
Yes.
close now. Thank you so very much. Yeah.
So that primary example I was going to give is this. Let's take an example of you have an issue and you are scammed of certain monies, and then you go to the police to report it, right? There are some things that are alleged to be free, like bill. There are some other things that requires naira and kobo. You know that already.
Yes.
And you know if you walk into a police station to report that you were scammed, be ready for all the things that follow.
Yes, of course.
You see? So that would already deter some people from doing that as well.
In the first instance.
Right? Just the same way it has been an issue with other kind of vices like rape and so on. People don't want to report because of the hassles they might face when they go to report this to the police. Now, if you say you have this issue with, let's say, bank transfer, for example, as you gave, and or let's say tracking of funds. A phone is missing. It was stolen. Needs to be tracked. And then you walk into a police station. You first have to deal with the hassles of the registration and the IPO, and if they are going to pick the fellow or whatever they're going to do, or the investigation and the period. You have to, I won't call it pay for, in order to be politically correct or correct your TV. You have to support the system. You have to support the system to see that investigation is done.
I see that as part of your ethical behavior.
And the IPO, he eats. Right? And while he is doing the entire work, you have to make sure he is happy.
And he's drinking.
Yes. And then you would see his efforts quite all right going through all of this. But if we have a system also that works efficiently, especially like I said in data-driven intelligence, there are a lot of things that can be averted. A lot of things that can be averted. If I walk into a station and I report someone, and there's a computer system where they can already tell from my reports that I may be lying, or I have done similar reports in 2 other police stations
that turned out to be just alarming.
Exactly. Or there's a pattern of such kind of reports in certain areas about the same person. So there are different kind of data that can be gotten from this in order to help that investigation. And I'm sure, just as the police is trained, I know they are one of the best trained, in fact, in Africa, from what I heard. So just as they are trained and retrained, if a police officer in any station is given a computer system that has organized data, and they know by putting their username and password, they can search for certain data that helps get the job done, they will go through the hassles that they go through actually.
Yes.
That's correct.
But how do you ensure misuse of those data?
Okay, so misuse of it's within the purview of the same institution, right? But there's something called access privileges. There are levels of access. Like even when we watch some foreign movies, even a police officer on a system trying to check a vehicle, and it tells you that this file is sealed. It requires a different level of access. So you have to request for access, and then that request goes to your boss and goes to another person even in another bureau, and they'll say for you to be asking of this data, then there's something that's linked to a case that we're already following. But that linkage, that data from data collection to the analysis, to the data mapping, to the usage is something that the law enforcement agencies have to pay attention to as another great tool to fighting into a better security posture for the country?
Wow, this has really been wow. Victoria, what do you say?
Yeah, this was good.
All right.
It was great, I would say.
All right. I do think that very shortly again we might need to invite Bruce to come talk about allied matters and related issues. And by the way, in case somebody who's close to Bosun Tijani is listening, or to Dr. Vincent Olatunji, we need you in the studio here so we could talk a little bit more, and you would be more first-hand than Bruce. Yes. So we need to have you. I hope that your minders are watching and that they will do the needful. At this point, we just need to go because our time is up. Yeah. I must say thank you to everyone, millions around the world who are tuned to this program right now, and even to the television station. Thank you so very much for your love, and thank you for those who made the call, those who tried severally and didn't get through. We know you're trying. We can see you're trying. Well done, keep it up. And thank you so very much. And big up to my production team. You're just a wonderful bunch. Give yourselves some thumbs up there. And Victoria, thanks so very much for doing this with me.
Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us on the show. Thank you.
You want to say it? Bye-bye, right?
No, an awesome thing that getting to participate on the Data Privacy Day to discuss data privacy. Big ups to KAFTANTV for seeing it important to uphold a session to create this awareness as well.
Thank you so very much, and here it is that we must